I am loving this spring assist. I'm able to lift this heavy ass gate with one hand and record on the other one. So I had a few comments when I showed my sign, or my trailer sign, the first time, saying to use spacers, because I told you guys I noticed there was like a little crack because the middle pieces or the middle bolts were too tight, so it kind of bent my trailer a little bit. And I think I got like 2 or 3 people commenting use spacers and with PVC, so I listened to y'all. So I used a couple spacers, and then I ended up using a washer too on this side, just so it can have something to hold on to. And then on the other side, regular washer. I don't know what this is. And then the bolt. And then I just cut off the excessive part. So I only did that on the 2 middle pieces and then this far piece. I was gonna do it to all of them, but I mean, I don't know if the camera really catches it, but it looks more, it looks a lot better. So you can see like the bottom pieces might be still a little too tight, but it looks more flat, like more like a smooth flat finish. Before, like these 3, it used to kind of like bend inwards. I don't know, it didn't look too good. I mean, it looked good, but like it kept bugging me. And then of course I listened to y'all, so thank you so much. Again, I'm not an expert on these things. We'll see, maybe I did this wrong. So, but I mean, only time will tell if it falls out. I don't know what it is. And then I did get another comment saying to be careful when I'm driving on the highway or freeway, because they'll fall out with all the wind, the wind resistance. And that actually happened to my old trailer. I'll put a picture of my old one, but the old one used to be just like a little rectangle in the middle. And then when I actually bought the 36 V-Ride, I drove like 4 or 5 hours away, and on the way there I lost it in the highway. So lesson learned. So luckily I'm in my area, I don't have to really go on the highway. The highest I go is like 50, maybe 55, but I'm pretty sure I lost it when I was going like over 70, probably close to 80, and then all that wind and they just flew it out. But yeah, I learned from that mistake. So we'll see how long this guy holds on. I am a little worried that hopefully it doesn't fall, because it is it's like metal, it's like aluminum. So I would hate for that to fall on the highway, and then I could probably cause an accident. I don't know. But like my license plate has zip ties too, so it's just something for me to keep an eye on, to make it's something that I'm aware of, so I'm constantly keeping an eye out every time we go on a we get to a job. I'll be keeping an eye on the washers, making sure they don't go through these. But like I said, like I upgraded the bolts to get thicker washers so that they don't go through this hole, because that's what happened last time. I've had it for a month, I think. No issues. It's held up great. The only thing that you could still see the indent from the first time I did it. But I'm so happy with it. So thank you guys. I didn't even know they made spacers for bolts. I'm just, that part isn't my forte. But yeah, today I'll do do my yard to get some footage and whatnot, mowing, and then we can talk about, I'll go through my comments and see what we can talk about today. But let's get it. So as you saw, the 48 was covered with leaves. So I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take both the 48 and the 52 to the car wash. And I remember seeing a video of some guy doing it, and I was like, huh. I was like, that's one way to do it. So now I do it during spring and summer. Every couple of weeks, I'll take it to the car wash to get them clean. During winter, I don't, since we're just mulching up leaves. And as you guys saw, since I was using the 48, that one had a lot of leaves stuck, in the little crevices and whatnot. The 48, it just had leaves from like October, early November when I was still using it. But the 52 has, I think, close to 500, and then the 48 has like 200 something, and then the 36 still has like the low 30s, like 33 or something. But today I wanted to talk about returning clients. Now, I had mixed feelings about it at the beginning. Before, I would have said like, yes, I accept returning clients or old clients that dropped me for someone else and then they came back to me. And I did take back one client last year. Pretty much her lawn care guy kind of like ghosted her, and then she reached out to me and I took care of her property for like 3 or 4 months. And then after that, her old lawn care guy came back and she ended up using him again. And then she reached out back to me, and then she ended up dropping me at the end. So I would say if you're gonna take back an old client, I would say one, when she used my service again, I gave her a price increase of like $5, and she was like, oh, you used to charge me 55, and I was like, well, my new minimum is 60, and you're since you left me, you're no longer locked in that 55 price range or whatever. So the second time she came back to me, I was charging her 60 for like a small cookie cutter yard. It would only take me like 15, maybe 20 minutes if I'm doing it by myself. So I'm still on the fence, because at the end of the day, like, if they come back, that's still money that you're kind of leaving on the table. So it's kind of like, do you want to say no to that money, especially if you're not busy, or do you just want to take as much as you can during spring and summer, because once winter comes, it's we're still in winter technically, but you if you're in lawn care, how slow it is. So I feel like during spring and summer we should try to eat as much as we can, if that makes sense. For new guys, I know for guys that have been in the game a lot longer, they're like, no, once they leave us, that door's closed. And for new guys, it's a little bit different. We're like, an extra account would be nice. And yeah, they did leave me. So will they leave me again? And, that's why I gave her a price increase, because if she did leave me, at least it was worth my while. And ultimately, she did leave me. Now, I did have an old client reach out to me. He called me actually like twice. And I stopped servicing his property because he would always take like 2 weeks to pay me. And during the season when I'm busy, like, the last thing I want to do is chase my money. And as a small business owner, I'm sure some of y'all can relate. Like, we depend on our clients to pay like a day or two, maybe 3 or 4 days. But anything over 5, I know people will say, oh, well, that's why you do, that's why you charge them a late fee and this and that. And my thing is, like, if I'm already having a hard time them paying me my regular fee, like, what are the chances of me getting a late fee added to my payment or whatever? But I know it works too. It keeps them in check, or it gives some, like, some balance, on your end. But anyways, I stopped servicing him like mid-October or close to November, because he would always pay late. And then he called me back. He's like, hey, hey, Wheezy, I'm just checking to see when you can, when you're going to start servicing our property. And, and I was very, very honest with him. I was like, oh, Sir Mike, I was like, I stopped servicing your property because it would always take you 2 or 3 weeks to pay me. And then I told him the whole thing, as a small business owner, I depend, yada, 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 told him my side. And, and then he told me, he was overseas and he couldn't really, he kept relocating because he serves in the army or military or something like that, which I understood. But, at the end of the day, like, business is business. So I told him, if you want me to add you back to my schedule, I need to have a credit card on file. And he's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That would make it easier for me. So I kept him at the same price because he's literally right next to my other client. And he brought that up. He's like, oh, I saw that you service Miss Janet. And I was just wondering where you're gonna, that's how we started off. Like, when are you gonna service my property? And I was like, we got to address some issues, It's not just like, oh, hey, can you add me back to my schedule? I'm like, oh, yeah. And then you proceed to take 2 to 3 weeks to pay me. So I kept them at the same rate because it's literally right next to my other client, and now I have his credit card on file. So I would say, if it's something like that where you got to make it worth your while if you're gonna take them back, just because there was a loss of loyalty, or they might leave you again. So even if you have them for 2 or 3 months, like, make it worth your while. Is where I'm at right now. In the future, I might change it, my opinion, but right now, because I'm not fully booked, again, I just want to get our schedule booked and work on my route densities, and it's right next to my other one, so it just kind of like checked all the marks or all the boxes. So I just want to be clear, this mess wasn't me. It was already like that. I haven't even washed them yet, but that's why I try to blow off and get all the leaves and all the dirt out, so that I'm not leaving them a mess, because that's a little messed up. So they're all cleaned, but Bossman is saying he also raised the price on some of his clients, and he's losing them, and he's asking, you can tell who was loyal and whatnot. But yeah, man, it sucks. I think when we send out these messages or these notifications that we are increasing the prices, I think some of like a part of us knows that there's a chance we might be losing them. But at the same time, like, especially we've had them for a season. We don't, we think like $5 or $10 isn't like a deal breaker, but it really is to these people or to these clients. It sucks, but in the long run, like we need to do these things, and we need to lose these clients, even though it hurts, for us to see some kind of progress each and every year. So every year just gets better. It sucks, I'm in the same boat as you are. Like I said in my other videos, it sucks because, I said it before, and I'll say it again, but it sucks because we know how hard it is to get clients, and when we lose them over $5 or $10, it is a little bit discouraging. But again, in the long term, it's worth it. So stick to your guns. I'm in the same boat with you, and I'm sure a lot of guys that aren't in the same boat are too afraid to take that gamble, and will always stay in that bracket where they're known as like the $35 or $40 or $45 yard guy. And ultimately, in a few years from now, we'll be making a lot more money doing a lot less if we stick to this game plan. But anyways, like, subscribe. I appreciate y'all.